Yo, what's up duelists, it's LOZA here, and today I'm taking you on my journey through Duel Monsters 2, and after playing Duel Monsters 1, I had to see how the sequel stacked up, and let me tell you, this game is different. Some are good, some are bad, but mainly just the massive upgrade in graphics. The color really makes these cards pop. I did really love the pixel art of Duel Monsters, but it going to that beautiful Game Boy color just brings the game to life. On top of the graphics, we've got 355 new cards. The opponent's decks and ways of requiring certain cards have changed from the first game, and when you receive a new card it actually shows it on the screen, which is nice if you have no idea what the card is. Another great change was the victory bonuses were awarded up to the 30th win rather than 100th win. Yes, in the previous game I dueled Joey 100 times to get the Red Eyes Black Dragon. In this game, you duel someone 30 times and then you've got one of each of their drops at 10 wins, 20 wins, and 30 wins, and then those drops will just repeat if you duel them any extra times. There's also a super random chance of Grandpa appearing after the duel to give you a card instead of Taya. I don't know why. Something really interesting in this game was they added a thing called deck volume. So this was so your deck couldn't just have like a Blue Eyes White Dragon that you just generated for free. So instead, you had to play to your deck's volume, which could be very annoying when you did pull something like Gaia the Fierce Knight, which just happened to cost too much for your deck. A lot of random other stuff got introduced, like trap cards and ritual monsters. Yeah, the first game didn't have these, which is kind of random. The trap card zone is randomly off to the left of your screen. Traps are kind of good, but they also just go away after one turn. So I don't know, I only ever play like one in my list. Alright, let's go through the campaign because that's really what we're all here for, I imagine. Domino High School is going to be stage 1. So last game it was the boat to Duelist Kingdom, this time it's Domino High School, and we'll have the exact same lineup as Duel Monsters 1, just here in beautiful color now, and that's Yugi-Moto, Bakura, Tristan Taylor, and Joey Wheeler. Of course, this is little Yugi-Moto, but you'll notice this time you can farm him for Dark Magician and Yami Yugi based cards as well. So this game I actually went for a Yami Yugi deck. The reason being, well, I can actually grind the cards this time. Last game in Duel Monsters 1 we went for a Joey deck simply because it seemed like the best option for time, even though I still had to duel him 100 times with no speed up button. But we did it, we stuck to it, and now we've done the same for Yugi here. I've invested a lot of time, a lot of hours into this game just to get my Yugi deck up to scratch. So after beating Yugi over 100 times to make sure I had a Dark Magician Yami Yugi-esque deck to play in the actual game, I've spent 38 hours on the collection by now. Holy moly. We're entering stage 2, and that is Kaiba Land. Kaiba Land is going to introduce us to 6 duelists here. We're going to have Mako Tsunami, Mokuba Kaiba, Para, and Dox as separate duelists for some reason. We have Puppeteer of Doom, or otherwise known as the Ventriloquist, who replaces the ghost of Kaiba from the anime in the manga, if that makes sense. And lastly, we just have Rex Raptor. Super random to not have Rex Raptor alongside Weevil, but I guess that can segue us into stage 3, which is the Tokyo Dome. I'm glad that the wiki tells us this because I was looking at this field like I don't know what this is, but apparently it's Tokyo Dome. We have Weevil Underwood, which it does make sense seeing him here because I'm pretty sure this is where he versed Rex Raptor. Another reason why Rex should probably be here, but that's fine. Seto Kaiba's along here with them, definitely one of the harder duels here as he can literally just summon Blue Eyes, much like in Duel Monsters 1, making him a step above pretty much everyone here. Bandit Keith, he was also pretty good, a lot of strong machines this time, much better than last game. Then we've got Simon, who's here again, being annoying, and for some reason, I don't know why Panic is here at Tokyo Dome. I'm pretty sure he was only a Duelist Kingdom thing, like, he's still wearing the gauntlets, like, man, let it go, Duelist Kingdom is over, bro. Anyway, the most questionable duelist being here is Mai, and not because she's a bad duelist, but what were they doing with her sprite? Hello? Konami? What's going on here? What was the aim here for a children's card game? Anyway, let's just say they knew their audience. Moving on, we have the final boss of the game, which is of course Maximilian Pegasus once again. So this game doesn't seem to follow Duelist Kingdom, maybe even more so the duels we see on screen leading up to Duelist Kingdom, but I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think this game's place in the timelines doesn't exist, and this is more, maybe even it's a post-battle city. I don't think this game like fits into a timeline really. Like the first Duel Monsters was clearly a recap of Duelist Kingdom. This one just kind of seems like a bunch of random Yu-Gi-Oh references, and more so just a remake of the first game with, you know, better decks, better graphics, more cards, etc, etc. Duel Monsters 2 is pretty much just a better version of the first one. I want to say the only feature that they cut, which is really strange, is when you are pressing the A button to, you know, attack an opponent, after the attack, your cursor stays on the same card that attacked, which is really weird because in the previous game, it would move over to the next monster and you'd attack with the next monster. So you could just sit there and mash A mindlessly, like when you were grinding, for example, and it was effortless because I could watch YouTube videos and just press A and it would attack with all my monsters, and then the game would pass turn when you had no more attacks left. While this seems restrictive and very much not like the Yu-Gi-Oh we know today where you're very free to do a lot of things, this was very, very good for grinding, so I was really sad that after I attack with a monster, the cursor doesn't automatically move to my next one. Like, that was just kind of a quality of life thing they dropped for some reason. I understand them dropping the turn passing automatically when you have no attacks left, because in Yu-Gi-Oh you can normally still perform summons, still set spells and traps and that kind of thing, activate spells. So I understand main phase 2 exists, but at this point in the card game it did not, so I really wish they still just ended your turn once you attacked with everything. Like, it just would have made grinding a lot quicker. Let me know what you think of that in the comments, because I feel like I'm the only one who's said this so far, but it's just a really niche thing I noticed when I wanted to, you know, grind 100 times to get Dark Magicians and stuff. Maybe I'm just being too nitpicky there, but anyway, the final boss being Pegasus is also not the final boss, because just like the Duel Monsters 1 thing, there's a dark stage in which you can verse Yami Yugi, except you don't. Well, you can. In this dark stage, you have the chance of rolling Yami Yugi, Yami Bakura, Shadi, or a Shizu. Once you beat them, nothing special happens, you just get a really good card because, you know, they're like the extra episode. But they don't rotate either. There's a chance for them to rotate to a different duelist after every duel. The percent is low though. So what I've done, instead of, I was grinding it on stream and we couldn't get off Shadi. It was just Shadi. We beat him so many times and I was like, you know what guys, we're going to move on to Duel Monsters 3 on stream. And I, you know, was like, hey, I'm just going to roll them through the emulator. Because I found out you can hack, well not hack, through the actual system, you can just manipulate it. There's a setting, like a quality of life setting, where you can just pick the Dark Stage episode. So, unfortunately, the duels I'll show you of the last episodes here is me, manipulating it, because I'm not going to sit here and try to roll it. We tried on stream for about half an hour, and that's enough. I've spent enough time on Duel Monsters 2, to say the least. So, as much as I enjoyed the game and enjoyed grinding out my deck, I was like, I'm not going to sit here and grind more games to rotate the Dark Stage. That was a really weird choice by them, and especially as a kid playing this game, you'd probably duel Shadi once or twice and be like, okay, that's it, like, I've beaten the game. But the fact that it can actually reroll is actually crazy. They probably should have just made it reroll after every duel, regardless. Maybe that would, you know, make it seem like less of a fantasy, or like there'd be less mystery surrounding it. Like your opponent might be like, oh yeah, the final boss is Bakura, and you'd be like, no, it's Shadi. Your other friend could be like, no, it's a Shizu. Like, I get if that was what they were going for, but I don't know, it just seems kind of silly at the end of the day. But hey, old GBA games did weird stuff like this, right? Right, I haven't actually done this yet, but I think we're going to do a deck profile. I think I want to do a full-on deck profile. Oh man, probably the most controversial thing I haven't even touched on yet is the fact that this game is called Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Duel Stories. That is the most confusing thing ever, guys. Because Dark Duel Stories is Duel Monsters 3 over here in Australia, and anywhere else with a release outside of Japan. It was called Dark Duel Stories. What's confusing is Dark Duel Stories is the name of the second one, which we are playing right now. So it's really weird, but somehow in translation, in the localization of the third one, they wanted to call that Dark Duel Stories for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they ultimately made that decision, making it a bit confusing. But this is not the third Duel Monsters, that'll be next time. That's the one I actually played as a kid. So I started this one thinking, is this the one I played when I was young? But I was pretty sure straight away it was not. Anyway, Duel Monsters 3 will be the video coming out after this one, and boy is it a wild tale to tell. We'll get to that, because it's its own beast and it has custom cards. It's very strange. Alright guys, we're in for a really long profile here. Alright guys, we're in for a long profile. I've got to manually click every card here, so bear with me here. First card is Feral Imp. Looking feral. Sangin is up next. Part of the Sang gang, let me know in the comments section. Komori Dragon, we got 2 of him. Then we've got the Catapult Turtle. We've got the Soldier of Giant Stone, which can actually fuse with Catapult Turtle. We've got Karibo, because what Yugi deck wouldn't have Karibo? Blackland Fire Dragon. Now just remember, everything here is used in Yugi's deck at some point, or Yami's deck. Silver Fang. Where's the Regeki combo though? We don't have it. Mystical Elf. Torike, which Yugi has only ever set, I believe, but still. Okay, Muyon Kari isn't a Yugi card, we just needed filler spells, but this is another filler spell. It costs 0, and it's really bad, but it fills space. Blackland Fire Dragon. Dark Magician, there he is. Look how beautiful he looks in that pixel art. We love to see it, love to see it. It costs 46, oh my goodness. You see my deck capacity there at the top, 1032 out of 1098. I grinded that a lot so we could play all these beautiful Yugi cards. Giant Soldier of Stone again, there's going to be some double ups. Feral Imp again. Mammoth Graveyard, we got 2 of them, and another beautiful Dark Magician. You love to see that. Time Wizard, technically not a Yugi card, but you know, also it was given to Joey by Yugi, so there it is. Horn Imp. Celtic Guardian, a personal favorite of mine. Sangin and Torike again. Then we've got another beauty, Summon Skull, absolute beast card. We've got another copy of Mystical Elf, another Catapult Turtle, another Celtic, another Horn Imp, so we can skip all those. This is a good page. We've got Gaia the Dragon Champion, along with Gaia the Fierce Knight, along with Curse of Dragon. You can also manually fuse those in mid-game by stacking them on top of each other, which is cool. Another Gaia the Fierce Knight, and then we just have a Acid Trap Hole. Not a Yugi card, but just a really good trap. Destroys any monster 3k that your opponent summons. 3k or less. Kinda huge, kinda huge. Griffor, another random Yugi card. Pale Beast, which I believe was in the Yugi starter deck, but I don't know if he actually used it in the show. Another copy of Cursed Dragon, a Winged Dragon Guardian, the Fortress one, and a Beaver Warrior. You do love to see it. That was the last card added to the deck. Gotta slip the Beaver in there, you love to see it. Anyway, that was the deck list, and yeah, I don't think I could have fit another Yugi card in there, but if I missed one, let me know down in the comments. I grinded my Duelist level to 114, and I'm happy with that to say we're signing off from this game. Now, this game did have the password feature once again, but unfortunately, every time you put in a password, you lost 50 of your deck points. So the deck volume being 400 to start, and then each win gives you maybe 3 or 4, and then I would put in a code for just Celtic Guardian, and that would take 50 away. Felt really rude, but that was just how it was, right? A card's deck cost is often just decided by how big its stats are, right? So like its attack and defense being big means it'll cost a lot, but if it has like 0 defense and a lot of attack, it'll still be pretty cheap, which is nice. They're the peak cards. I also say defense position cards are just useless because your opponent just won't attack them if they're in defense. And they know like the stats too high. I don't know why. The AI just knows your defense mode stats and just won't attack you. So not until Duel Monsters 3 does defense mode actually matter. But yeah, one big thing in deck building in this game was spells and traps normally costed nothing. Or at least the ones I picked, and that was really good for just filling space in the deck. Talk about some of the other super random mechanics in this game. So in the previous game, you could only normal summon one monster per turn, but also if you used a spell, that took your normal summon away. So in this game, they actually made it so you can use spells, traps, and normal summon a monster, so that's really cool. You can still fuse in this game, so if you overlay a card on top of another one and there's a fusion available, it will fuse into it, and that doesn't count as your normal summon. So on like turn 2, if you still have your monster alive, you can fuse onto that monster and then normal summon another monster, which feels really broken, and they'll address that in Duel Monsters 3, but I feel like they shouldn't have addressed it also. It was a fun little gimmick, that in Duel Monsters 3, the gimmick is kind of dead, but yeah, we'll talk about that later. There's also a really weird interaction with field spells and equip spells. You can make monsters' attack go like crazy high, but I never did that in my playthroughs, but it's probably would have made it easier, but all the equip spells cost a lot, so I couldn't really be bothered. I'm pretty sure ritual cards were decent in this game, but I never really had the pieces to do it, so I just didn't. Oh man, I nearly forgot to tell you the absolute mess of a system that is the type advantage system. So in short, Fire beats forest, forest beats wind, wind beats earth, earth beats thunder, thunder beats water, water beats fire, shadow beats light, light beats fiend, and fiend beats dreams, while dreams beats shadow. It kind of makes sense, it kind of doesn't, but the main thing that matters is Dark Magician always wins a fight against Blue Eyes White Dragon, and that feels really damn good. Otherwise, just think of it as Pokemon type matchups with a twist. Anyway, if you enjoyed this journey through Duel Monsters 2, be sure to hit a like, comment, sub, and let me know if you're keen for the Duel Monsters 3 vid, because damn, the Duel Monsters 1 vid kind of tanked on the channel, sorry to say. I put a lot of effort into that one, and probably this one too, but oh well. I'm going to keep doing it because I really like playing these games, and if there's just not an audience for it on my channel, that's okay. I'm going to do it for me. But anyway, I hope to catch you guys on the next one. And yeah, this is LOZA out. Peace.